Welcome back. This is the ATO Bridging the Divide podcast. We have a very, very special message from the host. We were at the Firewheel Golf Course, and this is for the 8th annual Despardos Golf Tournament, brought to you by LGC Plumbing. I'm Joe King. I'm with the great Kent Wolverton. Today we'll have several guests pop on to talk about why they're here, why they support the ATO. And this is really going to be straight off the cuff because we have no script for this. So some people may come on and tell their stories about assisting with the ATO or supporting us or some of their critical incidents. We don't know yet. We have plenty of people here to choose from. So just sit back and listen to our 6th message from the host. All right, Kent. Thanks for being here yet again.
Yeah,
and
no problem.
This is your 2nd message from the host.
I believe it is. The first one was the very first of my experiences with bridging the divide, and it's a brisk 35 degrees out today. Thanks for having me out.
Yeah, we're sitting outside in the pavilion at Firewheel Golf Course and for the Despardos tournament. And our first guest, Jeff, go ahead and tell the listener who you are and tell them a little bit about you while you're here.
My name's Jeff Kia, and I sit on the board to the International Association of Special Investigations Units. We're about 4,000 members of primarily insurance fraud investigators as well as law enforcement, and we promote training, fraud awareness, and networking to the fraud fighting community.
Okay. Tell the listener a little bit how you know how we met up and when you reached out to me.
Sure. So in 2016, I'm also on the board of the local North Texas chapter, and we made a donation to the organization after the downtown incident that occurred.
Yep, 2016.
And then recently, what we do is we hold a seminar or conference every September. It's attended by 1,000 people, and we have a golf tournament usually on Sunday, and we usually look for a local charity that we can support. And since we made a donation before, I couldn't think of a better organization that really goes back to the community.
And I appreciate that. The Association Foundation, I just saw our numbers from through October, and we literally are over $50,000 over budget of what we spent all of last year, and we still have November, December to tally for our confidential counseling. It's our first responders, police and fire. We service, and it's on the rise, but organizations like you that support us, I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, we're glad to hopefully be, we're looking for some organizations to help out, and I linked up with Jason Sibley, grew up with him. And
Great
I was
guy.
like, hey man, there's got to be a local organization. He's like, man, I can't think of a better place than ATO. I was like, oh man, that's cool. So, and then linked up with you soon after that.
Yep. Tthank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me out.
Yeah, and you live close.
I actually live in Firewheel, so it's not really a far drive for me.
You didn't walk over?
No, I didn't walk over.
Yeah.
It's a little too chilly.
Yeah.
I got nothing, man.
You got nothing? All right.
No, I do have a question though. Your organization, it sounds like it's fairly specialized, but you still have, you said 4,000 members. That's pretty remarkable for such a specialized
so we're actually an international organization. So we have we're looking to do a South Africa chapter. We're looking to Australia. We got a big European contingent, but primarily it is mostly CONUS here in the United States. But it's primarily insurance fraud, but it networks for federal, state, local governments. Primarily, it's really great networking opportunities because you never know where you're going to need that person in the back pocket. And so we get calls from everybody.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, the training aspect too of providing training to where it's almost universalized now.
Yeah,
where
and
everybody's
I'm
on the
actually
same page.
the chair of the education committee, and so part of my charge from our president is to host 2 webinars per month, and includes insurance fraud, financial crimes, you name it. So if you have any ideas, I'm always looking for speakers.
Yeah, I'm not the investigative type. I'm more of an Office Depot guy now. But no, whatever you guys are doing, man, I appreciate the push towards training and the push towards. I mean, obviously you're pretty busy. You hold about 16 titles in the same.
I know, and about 5 designations after the name too, right?
But that's awesome, man. It really is. It shows your servant's heart, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate you reaching out. And in this podcast, when we created it, the name of it's Bridging the Divide. And I've met so many interesting and special people through this, and I consider you one of them. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me out, guys.
All right, we have our second guest sitting down with us. Jeff just left, and Emily, tell the listener a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Emily. I've been in the beverage industry for 10 years now, and working with Hoist has been a lot of fun. I'm very excited about the brand and about the product. Pretty much what Hoist is, it's an IV level hydration isotonic. So pretty much what it does is it gets you hydrated faster and keeps you hydrated a lot longer than your traditional sports drinks without adding artificial flavors or preservatives or anything like that. So it is a better for you option.
It's delicious too. So I met you out at Dr. T's, one of her 3-day seminar out there at the Star, and I was kind of hesitant to come up because I was like, it's another Gatorade type, and I've had plenty of them, but I came up and actually had some of the samples, and I'm hooked. And you were so generous to come out to our golf tournament today and bring us several cases for the golfers, and I've already drank like 12 of them.
We love supporting first responders or our vets as well. So we actually have a contract with the Department of Defense. Okay. So any active military, be it in training or out on the field, they do get Hoist for free. And they can also buy it in their commissaries as well. We are worldwide with them. We just got into Japan, which is a lot of fun. It's been very interesting. We've been received really, really well. And they just do notice that it hydrates you better than your leading sports drink out there.
Well, by the time this event's over and after I finish, 20 of these, I'm going to be very hydrated. I'll be up all night.
You'll be feeling good. You'll be feeling refreshed and good.
I'm going to marinate and Hoist all day.
Just remember, what goes in has to come out.
Yes, and I will not sleep tonight. So can you tell the listener where they can find you on social media or a site, or how can they go and pick up some Hoist if they want to partake in it?
They can go to drinkhoist.com. We're able to ship nationwide. We have a lot of people getting it from Houston and Southern California and all that good stuff. So we will ship nationwide. There's also the powdered packets, which is what the military gets as well. My personal favorite is going to be peach, mango, and orange. Nationwide, they lean more towards the strawberry lemonade. If you can get your hands on blue raspberry, that's the best.
I haven't tried that one. I like the peach mango and I like the watermelon. The watermelon is my favorite.
It's good, yes.
Yeah, and there's another. The purple is the
dragon fruit. Dragon fruit is going to be one of our lighter flavors. So the watermelon. So it's the watermelon, but they're all pretty good.
I like them.
We will. We have something for all flavor profiles.
Okay. So I'm going to be reaching out to you on some of our other ATO events if you're interested. And
absolutely.
And I've had several people stop me saying, "Damn, this is good."
A lot of people are surprised.
Yeah.
You're looking at your liquid IV and it's very salty, or you're looking at your other sports drinks and they're very sweet. So we have about half the sugar of your other sports drinks, but you still have that flavor. So we're very proud of it.
I noticed there was no color to the watermelon one. Is there any color in any of them?
So on your liquid, you're ready to drink. They will not have any color whatsoever. Now on the powders, they will have coloring, just because with our contract, they did specify if it's not water, it needs color. So our soldiers know whether they're drinking water or not. But it's an interesting little tidbit. But anything that you order online that's liquid, no colors whatsoever.
So for all those moms with kids who have reactions to all the different food dyes and everything, this is a great substitute.
Yes, absolutely. And it's natural. So.
Well, Emily, thank you for coming out, and thank you for you're freezing like the rest of us. It is cold, folks. It is cold out here. It's our first time being outside doing this podcast, and we're
not going to do it again.
No, well, we might maybe in springtime.
Maybe indoors.
Yeah, indoor. We do plenty indoors, but this sitting out here, my fingers just to work the controls on the computer, I'm struggling.
You keep sticking your hand in my pocket. It's crowded in there.
Yeah. Expect that the rest of the day. Emily, thank you so much for sitting with us, and thanks for coming out and supporting the ATO.
Thank y'all.
In November.
Yeah. So having a golf tournament in November is a little chilly out. So the reason we're here today, the man that started this, he is with us. Ameet, please tell the listener who you are and what this event's about and why are you so passionate about this?
Sure. My name's Ameet Smani. I'm with Despardos Mexican Restaurant. And we started this journey. I had my first golf tournament 8 years ago, and we started off with the Dallas Stars Foundation. And then a couple years after that, one of our good friends, David Nevitt, a retired police officer, suggested looking into the ATO. And so he set up a meeting with Frederick Frazier, Jennifer Brown, and then Mr. Mata came as well. And we came up to the restaurant. We just sat down and talked, and they opened up a lot of things that I never knew about, as far as assistance for the families, the counseling, and just between Frederick, Mike, Jennifer, and now Ed and Joe. I mean, such an amazing group of people. We love what they're doing. We love what it stands for. And so we just, and they're very supportive of us as well. It's not just a one-way road, but we're really excited about it.
Yeah, thank you. This is the 8th annual tournament, and can you tell the listener a little bit about the Desperados? That because we have listeners outside of the United States, and just tell a little bit about Desperados.
Sure. Desperados is a family-owned and operated restaurant. We opened up in 1976. Jorge Levy, the owner, opened up his first location off of Greenville Avenue in Dallas. And then we opened up one 26 years ago. Each one of his sons run each one of the restaurants. The dad's still around, kind of keep an eye on everything. And they call me the adopted son, and I run the catering.
Nice. Do you have you heard of the Caruth family?
Yes.
Bill and Minnie.
Sure.
Did you know that Desperados is one of Bill's favorite Mexican restaurants?
Oh, really?
Yeah, actually, yeah, they love it. I went with it. I came over and they're like, "Hey, we want to go. We want to go to dinner and let's have some Mexican food." I go, "Okay," and that's where we went. And he said that's Bill's favorite restaurant there, the one off Greenville.
And hearing those things is why we love doing what we're doing. The restaurant industry, it's not the sexiest industries, anything like that. The hours, the days, it's tough, it's long. But, hearing people say how they love Desperados or they love what we do with the community, and it really is a family. And that's probably the biggest thing that we've tried to implement throughout the 46 years. We've had most of our staff with us 30 plus years, and you have a lot of turnover in restaurants, so we've been really lucky. Yeah,
and then I would imagine 2020 was that was not a good, just for like any food services, that was a struggle.
Sure. Just like everybody, you had to learn how to pivot, and we did, and we did it really well, and we got through it. We were really lucky that we didn't lose any employees, and we found every possible way, whether we tried to transition them to takeout service or helping out in the restaurant, just maintaining the restaurant, making sure all the cleaning standards were kept up to par. But it was difficult, but now we're on the other side of it.
That's great, though, that you were able to take care of your employees at the same time. I mean, that's huge, and I'm sure they'll pay it back.
Yes. That was something very important to us. From the get-go, we knew we needed to do something. The business wasn't like it was before. But again, just like everybody else, we pivoted, and we just found ways to keep everyone busy.
Meet, thank you so much for this partnership with the ATO and Desperados and this great golf tournament. The weather, we're hoping there's no rain. It is we want the sun to peak out a little bit more, but all the there's how many golfers show up today?
271 golfers.
271 golfers in November, the week of Thanksgiving in Dallas, Texas, and it's 40-something degrees out here, but they're still out here to support the ATO and support the Desperados. And man, I can't thank you enough for this partnership, and I look forward to sitting down next year with these mics, the same place, and going over to rehashing this and talking about how 2022 and 2023 went.
I can't wait.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, ATO listeners, we were sitting down with two first responder supporters, and can you, both of you, Randy, I know you, can you go ahead and tell the listener who you are and what organization you work with?
Yeah, my name is Randy Turman. I'm the clinic manager. I'm physical therapist at our Athletico Rockwall North location. We see a lot of first responders, both before they end up with any kind of work comp claims or injuries, but then also after the fact, because we take all of their insurances and then also work with their work comp providers.
Yep. And my name is Rich Lolich. I'm a physical therapist with Athletico Physical Therapy. I'm one of the regional directors that oversees the east of Dallas, and then a couple clinics in Dallas and Waco as well.
Okay. And, Randy and I, we met recently because we're starting up the new OWL program for DPD, and we're trying to look at some therapy that officers can do prior to getting injured, because you're one of the city of Dallas's preferred providers for therapy. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, so there's a lot of different stretches and exercises we're going to be putting out in our new newsletter that Randy gave me that kind of help officers, because all of us have low back pain. I mean, hell, and some of us have. There's not a part of my body from toes all the way up to my neck. I had double neck fusion.
Yeah, wearing those duty belts all day and your friends.
Yeah, we're beat to hell.
Crashing cars probably didn't help that either.
Crashing a car, yeah. Many foot chases. So yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about what Athletico provides, and how do you tailor your services to first responders?
Yeah, so there's a number of services that we provide to our City of Dallas employees, or really any other type of employer that has a lot of work comp claims or wants to improve their work comp process. One of the things is we can conduct a lot of injury prevention workshops, but I think what's really enticing to some employers is to help avoid some work comp claims is if there's just some minor strains, which I'm sure you guys aren't foreign to. We would get involved very quickly before it can exacerbate into a bigger issue, and start working on the City of Dallas employee right away to hopefully avoid the work comp claim and having to see a physician even.
Yeah.
Preventative maintenance.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so personally, on a personal level, I'm a sports therapist, so that's my board specialty. And when we look at treating an athlete, we look at both the mental and physical demands that go into their profession or their, basically when you treat like a professional athlete, that's their occupation. They have to be physically fit, but they also have to be mentally fit. And we understand the demands that first responders, police, and fire have both on their bodies mentally and physically. When they get injured, first of all, they don't want to admit it. Second, they can't take time off. And they a lot of times just end up working through those injuries and pain. And we want them to understand they don't have to do that. Just because they come in doesn't mean we're going to take them off duty. Doesn't mean we're going to tell them to rest. We're going to find modifications. We're going to find ways for them to work through that while they're still getting themselves better. Because we know that as they get hurt and they're off duty, things tend to kind of spiral. They lose their sense of duty and they lose their sense of purpose, and things kind of go downhill from there. They start to get depressed, or you take them completely off duty, they're stuck at home. That really affects the home life as well. And so being able to understand those demands, but then also know how to most efficiently get them back to full duty is where we come in, and we're a little bit different than a lot of places.
When a lot of officers, they fight through the injuries because they need to stay on duty, because a lot of them rely on overtime or extra jobs, to supplement their income.
Right. And you can't do that whenever you're on the work comp claims.
No.
So, yeah, we want to be able to just be a resource that they can come to before it gets to that point, so that we know we can get them back as quickly as possible. And whether, they need to do that on their own time, or, we've got Saturday appointments, we are open 7 to 7. We try to make it as easy for them as possible.
Tell the listener where they can find your information about your organization.
I would just say our website is probably the quickest way, so that's just www.athletico.com. And you can find all our locations on there, all our services. A lot of our community involvement stuff is also on that website.
And you have several locations across the Metroplex.
We do. But we'll finish this year with 40 clinics in DFW and Waco.
Excellent. And y'all all are, just again, you're a provider for the city of Dallas' workman's comp, one of the preferred providers.
Yes,
One
we
of them
see a
for sure.
lot of police and firefighters across our clinics.
Which basically means there's no excuse for Dallas police officers or firefighters to not be going and seeing you guys.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Thank y'all so much for thank you coming out for one.
Yeah, thanks for
dealing,
having
dealing
us.
with this cold and coming out and sitting here and freezing like the rest of us. But yeah, and your tent damn near got destroyed by Air One earlier on the ball drop. Can
You have to
can
post
I
that
say
video.
ball drop here? Yeah, it's my podcast. I can say ball drop. So so thank y'all again for coming out, and I look forward to working with y'all in the future. And
Yeah, happy to help. Thanks for having
Thank
us.
thank you
you.
so much
It's
for
awesome.
supporting us.
Yeah.
So Ken, again, I want to thank you for you've jumped on board and you've offered to help me on this podcast, and I can't thank you enough. You reached out to me and right from almost the beginning of this podcast coming out, and you've been supporting it since, and you give me a lot of feedback, good and bad, telling me I can make it better, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. I like what you're doing here, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Well, you're going to be a part of it now, but so you're always saying that you're a big fan, right? So
Big fan, yeah.
So you've heard the intro, right? The intro, the canned intro that we.
I have heard the
Yeah.
intro.
I actually sit down and wrote that. So when I started this, it took me like a month to come up with just that. But so you've heard that intro. It's played before just about every episode. Message from the host. It is not, because those are lower rent. Danny doesn't get his hand on those, but I would like for you, to being such a big fan and all, to recite that intro.
I usually skip that part.
Okay, well let's see what you got.
I'm drawing an absolute blank right now. All I can do is bridging the divide. It's not the divide or the divide. It's the.
Honestly, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure if I can remember the whole thing. No, I'm serious. I was thinking about this, and I knew I said I'm going to stump his ass on this. But so let me see. You're listening to the ATO Bridging the Divide podcast, brought to you by the Assist the Officer Foundation. Since 1999, the ATO has provided assistance to the first responder community, and now we want to give them a platform to hear their incredible stories. In Misty's voice, we also want to hear the stories of the many people that support us.
You don't sound anything like Misty.
No. Sure.
Yeah,
I wrote
got
this.
you.
We always want to hear from the many people that support us. Huh.
I can actually close my eyes and see most of you guys doing it when it's playing.
Yeah. No.
Because I know all of you and I can see your faces and yeah, it brings me great joy to picture you guys sitting there trying to read it.
No, sitting there reading it. You know how many times we had to sit there and read that, and we redid it
one
after
take.
the first one. Well, no, we in the first several, it was just me reading it, and then I wanted to get everybody else involved. Then we, Josh, Misty, and Randy, and even had Danny finishing up the end of the line, but I can't remember. And there's going to be several ATO listeners that are laughing their ass off because no, I can't remember since ATO. So we want to many people that support us. Huh? I'm out. I can't even remember my own intro.
Yeah, no, like I said, that's normally while I'm getting things ready.
You're tuning out.
Yeah,
You're
setting up my AirPods
Playing-
and starting the treadmill or whatever it is I'm doing. And that was a great question that went absolutely nowhere. Thanks.
Oh, I loved it.
Thanks for highlighting the fact that I don't pay attention to that.
well. Clearly, I don't pay attention to my own shit.
No, I'll
So-
tell you, I did go back 2 nights ago. Friday night? Maybe it was Friday night. And I listened to Misty's episode again.
Oh, so good.
It was an amazing story. And I know we've been talking about how you're the only one that cares about the sound quality, but I went back and I was like, man, that is horrible.
No,
That is
I know.
horrible.
Well-
We need to figure out a way to re-record that and enhance the sound quality.
Like George Lucas did with the Star Wars movie, remaster it. The THC, not THC.
Yeah, no, the THC and the CBD. Yeah,
the THC. Well, the audio. So for the listeners, they know that from episode 1 through 16, I believe, because Chief Garcia was the first with these new mics and the sound mixer, and before that, we did not use them. So the stories have always been great. I mean, hell, starting from Ed Lujan to Misty to Chris White all the way up to Chief Garcia. They've all been great. I've been extremely lucky to have badass people telling their stories to carry this podcast, because the host, the host's job is to just be a loose hand on the steering wheel. I shouldn't have. If I'm asking many follow-up questions or trying to put on the King show, that's not what this is designed for. I've been so lucky to have some great people on.
Well, it's crazy when you think about it. We have almost 3,000 people in the department, and if you go back to maybe the 6,000 badge numbers, that's 6,000 people. And I'm sure that if we sat down with anybody for an hour or two, they all have incredible stories, and I like the way that's highlighted, and it's not just officers, and it's not just detectives or SWAT guys or undercover people or whatever. We also have members of the community that come on and we talk with them, and it's great to see the support. And especially over the last few years, the public support has been probably greater than any other time in my career. And I know that sounds weird because we just went through a part where the huge narrative was defund the police and was anti-police rhetoric all over the place. But what I've noticed is the people that actually support us have come out more, almost trying to counter that. And it's incredible how the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? You got the angry people on one side, but the quiet support is still there, and I think it's becoming even less quiet and almost to a roar at this point, where people are saying we do appreciate you and we do want you to be here. And I don't know, after spending, you spent 19 years south of 30 here in Dallas. Those aren't usually the people that are the most vocal, but once you branch out a little bit, and I know you've got amazing connections throughout the city now, when you realize that those people still appreciate everything you do, and it's everybody really. It's not the vocal majority at this point, but everybody seems to be coming out and supporting you more and more, and maybe it's just me being a little bit more mature in my police career, but you see it more, and it kind of pushes you to keep going and keep doing things like this. This podcast has been incredible for recognizing how people actually take care of us.
Yeah, and I like it. I like doing this because of, honestly, what motivates me to do this, because there's been times, and I've said this before, that I want to just to walk away, but when I get messages from people in Utah, a PD in Utah, and how much it means to them, and actually I just sent him a nice little care package for some Dallas swag I think he's going to enjoy.
Hashtag Utah.
Yeah, hashtag Utah. But in hearing that people felt they responded better in an officer-involved shooting because of being in a certain mindset because of the podcast, or they sought counseling because of this podcast, or they're considering going to rehab because of something they've heard on here or a guest they've heard, that means a lot to me. And that's what this was designed for. It wasn't just to sit up here and tell a bunch of stories. At the very least, if this gets you even thinking about a different mindset or needing help or just being a better person or a professional or taking a different perspective on this in this first responder world, that's what it's meant for. And at the very least, you might hear a cool-ass story, cool-ass war story from somebody that's actually lived it.
Yeah, good luck walking away from this now that people say, hey, you've changed my life, or you've made me a better person. That's I know it's a heavy burden for you, but yeah, you can't quit now.
No, I'm not going anywhere, and you're going to be here to help me along. And and ATO listeners, I am going to have to revisit that intro and memorize it again.
I think that's a great idea for some leg tattoos. Just the entire preamble.
Yeah, I'm going to get that on my rib cage on both sides. All right, ATO listeners, we have another guest to sit down. Sir, please go ahead and tell us who you are and what you're about and who you're with, more importantly.
Sure. Hi, my name is Michael Levy, and I'm one of the owners of Despardos Mexican Restaurant, and we're proud to be here today. George, the owner, the original owner, is my father.
Okay. And
I am the youngest son out of two. George started the restaurant back in 1976. He was actually managing a place called Mariano's restaurant in Old Town, and he had two regular customers that would come in all the time. One was a dentist, and the other one was a lawyer, and they wanted to open up their own restaurant. And they would come into Mariano's all the time. And one day they said, hey, there's this Italian restaurant that's just a block south. And they're closing down. It's called Perino's. And we want to take it over. But we don't know anything about the restaurant business. Would you be willing to come and take it over or to help run it? And so George said, yeah. And they said, we'll give you part ownership. We'll split it 1/3 each. And so he went ahead and gave it a shot. And when they first opened back in 1976, it was an instant success. They were busy all the time, and they were having a lot of fun too. And they were learning a lot. And after probably 5 or 6 years, the lawyer came and said, you know what, this is too much work. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I think I'm going to get out of the business. I'm going to go back to practicing law. And then the dentist hung in there with my dad until probably the mid to late 80s. And then he decided that he wanted to get out of it also. So he told my dad, look, if you want to buy me out and you want to own the restaurant outright, let's go ahead and do it. And my dad didn't know how to do anything else. I mean, he came from Mexico, and he started off as a busboy at El Chico, and then he never said no to anything. He's a true American success story.
Nice.
When he was a busboy, they asked one day, one of the waiters didn't show up, and they asked him at El Chico, do you want to come out and wait tables because one guy didn't show up. So he said, yeah, I can do it. I'll do it. And he ended up doing it and did really well.
It's that work ethic.
Yeah.
Whatever he does, he's got that work ethic doesn't go away.
Absolutely. And then he did a good job as a server for many years. And then they came and said, hey, we're opening up a new El Chico. Do you want to come manage it? And he said, yeah, sure. I'll give it a shot. And he ended up running 2 El Chicos, and then went off to Mariano's, and then went to Despardos. So, he didn't know how to do anything else, so he stayed in the business. And he had a hard time after the dentist left. But about a year and a half later, my older brother finished up school, and then he started working there on Greenville with my dad. And when I finished school in the mid-'90s, they had just opened up the other Desperados in Garland. And I had no intention of working in the restaurant, but they needed some help, and that was 28 years later, and we're still doing it. So
you're still going strong. I was actually at
Yeah.
the Greenville location not long ago. I love that place.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So this golf tournament, this is the 8th annual tournament.
Yes.
And the Desperados put this on, and it benefits the Assist the Officer Foundation. What does that mean to you?
I just working in the restaurant, I'm there every day. We see so many officers that come and go, and we're just so grateful for what the officers do. The very first year that we did the golf tournament with the ATO, listening to so many stories of officers who lost their partners, friends, it just floored us. I remember we had a lot of people that were eating at the very end, and a couple of officers went up there to talk and told some stories, and it was so quiet. You could have heard, a pin drop. It's amazing what officers do for our freedom that we take for granted. And over the last few years, just the way the police officers have been not appreciated, it's not been good. So we're happy to do this, to stand up for the police officers, to bring awareness to the police officers, and to help those families that definitely need it.
That's fantastic. I mean, that kind of speechless, but at the same time, just thank you is basically what I want to say here.
Yeah, working in the restaurant, I can't tell you how many times police officers come in, and there's actually tables that'll fight for paying for their ticket because they want to support the officers so badly. And so for me to see that, it warms my heart to see that there's a lot of appreciation for police officers.
It really warms our heart to hear that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, no, the ATO does a lot of really good work for officers and helping out with families when officers come across hard times, but they can't do it without the support of people like Desperados that put on a golf tournament, and I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
I can't explain enough how big it is for us to have people like you out here supporting us.
Yeah, well, the ATO for us has been incredible. We did the golf tournament for, I think a couple of times we did it with a couple other organizations, and we have a really good friend named David Nivet.
I know David.
Yeah, a longtime police officer, retired. We were looking for somebody to sponsor, and my dad was like, well, let me talk to David. I think there's an organization that we can do with David. So we talked to him, and he, of course, brought up the ATO, and the very first year we did something with the ATO. The guys were incredible. The help that they give to put this on, the support, just the positive attitudes. It's just it's a great day to be around so many great guys.
Well, we feel the same. Thank you so much for this support, and I'm on the ATO board, and I'm dragging Kent in with me to be a part of the ATO and get more involved, because it is rewarding to help officers and show up with financial assistance or know that they're reaching out and getting confidential counseling, because to make them better, because we still have to go out and patch ourselves up and go out and serve the city, the citizens of Dallas, and citizens like you of Dallas, and the Desparado, the restaurant is a Dallas. It started in Dallas.
Yeah,
it's one of our iconic restaurants, and I'm proud to be a partner with you in this venture, and I look forward to many more of these golf tournaments.
Yeah, well, thank you. We do too. And anything you guys need, let us know.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back. We are now sitting with two big city homicide detectives, Dallas Homicide members, Andrea Isom and Detective Grubbs. Say hello.
What's up?
Hello.
All right, so the listener, if they follow us on social media, they've seen Detective Isom several times that we've posted her pics about her upcoming episodes. It's an episode just on the Dallas Homicide Unit, which it in law enforcement, especially in Texas law enforcement circles and within the state, Dallas Homicide is highly respected and looked at as standard. Going back to the Captain Fritz days, the stories about Dallas Homicide and Robbery Unit way back when, they're legendary. So Andrea, tell the listener your episode is going to air at a later date. But you were actually part of two other episodes, one about your own career in life, and then you sat in with another a guest. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I've been an officer now for 15 years, which makes me feel very old, and I've been in homicide for 7, so yeah. I was an assault detective before that, and I did South Central Patrol and a little bit of Southwest, and I trained at Northeast, so yeah.
Dave? Detective Grubbs?
Yeah, so I've got 15 years on also. I started out at Southeast Patrol, did that for a little bit. Then I went to robberies for a few years, and then I'm in homicide.
Were y'all classmates?
No. I did not know him in the academy at all. So I didn't have no idea who he was.
Huh. Okay. Wow.
And I took his spot in homicide, so he hated me for a while.
Yeah. So I want y'all to talk about Tab 7 and what that is, how that got started, and what y'all's mission is.
All right. So I guess it's been a little over a year ago, we started a nonprofit.
Yeah, that's the perils of doing a live podcast. It's good. They're setting up for something else, so
it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, so a little over a year ago, I guess a year and a half ago, we started a nonprofit with the goal of raising funds for equipment, software, things of that nature, training that we can't get through the department. A lot of it just due to budgetary restrictions and things like that. So, and the software in particular is really expensive stuff, and for us to...
Are you talking like Microsoft Paint?
Yeah, Microsoft Paint is a big one that we use all the time.
Redo crime scenes. Yeah.
Solitaire is important. They won't give us
Travelocity.
Yeah, Spider is important. Minesweeper would be nice too if we could get that. But yeah, I mean, some of the licenses for some of these programs that we need for mapping and cell phone analysis and social media analysis, some of them are like $10,000 per user. So somebody's making a lot of money off it, and obviously we were trying to spend money on it, but nobody wants to give us that money to do it. So we decided we'd try and raise some of the funds ourselves.
And I have to say that y'all do have probably some of the coolest DPD swag that I've seen. The Dallas Homicide, from the hats, the challenge coins, to the T-shirts, the coffee mugs. Y'all have some badass swag. So it's Tab 7. Y'all, we're trying to get y'all out to more of our events to set up some tables, and y'all always seem to have somebody standing there. Whether it's a DPA or one of these ATO events, and it's just cool stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
So, I don't know if you cover it in your episode, but explain what Tab 7 actually is a little bit for the listeners.
Yes.
So back in the day, before we came to Homicide, the guys in Homicide create a table of contents for a case file. So each murder case file has got 31 tabs, and there's like offense report, search warrant tab for witness interviews, things like that. And tab 7 is where the PCA and the arrest warrant goes. And so the old heads always talked about it like, how's your case going? Are you on tab 7 yet? And so we kind of refer to it as like solving the case. So you always want to get to tab 7. You always want to close the case. And so we kind of use it as slang, I guess, in Homicide. So we named the nonprofit after it. So it's kind of unique to Dallas. So
that's incredible. We're gonna get into more of that when your episode hits.
Yeah.
And I've listened to your episode because I had to pull some lines from Danny, but we were that far behind. Thank you. And yeah, it's your
coffee delivered, man.
Yeah.
Big guy over
hey,
here.
you know,
Does that say pumpkin spice latte?
When you host a podcast, you get some perks.
Is it the perks?
Yeah.
Huh? Wow.
So
Just random fans dropping by.
yeah. Thank y'all for
groupies.
thank you for your service, and thank you for coming out here and supporting the ATO.
Thank
and
you,
I can't wait
Travis.
till the listener here's your episode, and also I have another project I want you to come in and help on because I
Okay.
need
Yeah, let me know.
I'll get with you.
Okay.
Thanks, David. Thank
Right,
you,
no
Andrea.
problem.
Thank you.
So today we have sitting with us the great Aaron Connor. Aaron, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back on the mic with us. Everybody's heard your episode about Legends Fit. I want you to talk about that gym and your passion to military and first responders.
All right, thanks. Awesome golf tournament today, by the way. It's so cool. Yeah, we're really excited to be a place that welcomes the first responders. A place to come and a lot of people say it's almost like therapy for them coming in there. We're open 24/7. We have over 400 first responders at our gym already, and we try to cater to those guys. Obviously offering really cheap rates, and we offer law enforcement or first responder classes for martial arts. And you go there, I hear all the time people from Dallas say, man, it's like a shift change up here. I mean, there's so many people that are working out that are law enforcement, and also firefighters in there. Like good place for everybody to come and feel welcome. You walk in the door, you see the SWAT flag, the Misty Davis, and somebody donated like a Dallas 5 a blue thin line flag.
And it's wooden. It's beautiful. God, it's beautiful. It's the first thing you see when you walk in the door.
It's one of my passions is just to support this community, and with everything going on in the world, trying to set up a place where they felt welcome and a place where they can come and feel safe and get in shape, and also prepare them for what's on the street.
Speaking of that, you talked about in your episode about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and the need for that in law enforcement. We're going to have Master Machado on, and you're going to come on for that episode later. That's in the works. Probably after the holidays we'll get together. But can you talk about the importance for the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and how that can, and how your program and Carlos Machado's program, how that looks?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I mean, Carlos is actually the nephew of Carlos Gracie, 53 years in jiu-jitsu, or he's had his black belt for over 40 years.
Yeah, just getting started.
Yeah, he's just getting started. I mean, but the cool thing about him, he's the most humble guy in the world, and he's like me. Like with everything going on in the world, like he knew that he could take his skill set and apply it to law enforcement. He has so many. Through the years, so many people that are part of the Dallas police, or the different firefighters. I mean, and they're all dealing with fights and things going on, and we know that like in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu we can control someone without getting on camera, like beating them up. We can actually take them down, keep the officer safe, keep the suspects safe, and the other officers in the area,
and just control the scene. He's controlling the fight.
He's trying to get it to as fast as you can get them in cuffs or get them controlled, and that's what we do. We go all the way to cuffs, and I work with a lot of police officers right now and we take immediate feedback and apply it to the jiu-jitsu. So they'll look at it and say, is this real world or is it not? And we'll test it. We'll test to see, could somebody escape? And
do y'all practice with like the Sam Browns and the gun belts and
we do.
Oh wow! Okay,
yeah,
great.
we'll actually the blue guns and also
the gun molds.
Like handcuffs. So we'll have the handcuffs we can play with, the whole 9 yards. And really with the belts, I mean, that was the biggest experience for us, is like how much equipment you guys carry.
Yeah.
And if you do end up in a fight on the ground, like how do you move around and
it
get back
changes things
up?
a little bit.
Yeah.
We lose shit. It falls off. And then
we call it a yard sale.
And protecting it too, right? I mean, there's always one gun in the fight. So
at least always a gun when an officer shows up. When an officer's on the scene, there's always at least one gun.
Yeah. So I think that's the best part about what Master Machado is doing, is like there's a lot of different defense tactics out there, but what he's really doing is, there's highway patrol guys that come to our school, and they talk about being out in the middle of nowhere,
alone,
and having to and they get in a fight with somebody. I know one DPS guy who said that he was in a fight for, it was like 9 minutes with a much bigger guy than him. And he didn't have any, and we were working on some skills, and he was like, man, if I would have just had this when I was out there, he goes, I held him down, and but it was pure just like energy and muscle. He's like, if I would have been able to control them in a way,
using techniques and
using
tactics.
technique. Yeah. So,
man, your gym, I talk about your in several episodes, and Kent, I always mention Legends Fit. I love your gym. I love what y'all provide for us and the environment and the atmosphere that you provide for us, and it's just a badass gym.
Thanks,
I mean,
brother.
you go there and you can go it's open 24/7. You get a little key fob, you go in, you can go anytime you want, and the staff is super knowledgeable in fitness, and they're friendly, and you walk into that building and you can tell you're in a first responder and military gym.
It kind of just happened to, but you guys did it. I mean, everybody started showing up, and I was like, wow, man. I mean, we really are drawing all the first responders in this, and you can go in there and see 5-6 different agencies' cars in the parking lot at one time. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but I feel really blessed to be able to offer a place for people to come in and train and really get that therapy that they need,
Excellent. Well, the Assist the Officer Foundation thanks you, and we look forward to working together on projects in the future.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate you. Thank you for the hot chocolate, too, by the way.
No problem.
All right. So we are winding down this long message from a host, and this is our longest. This is probably like 5 messages from the host in one, but this is a special event. This is the 8th annual Desparado golf tournament that they donate. This is for the ATO, right, Ed? We're sitting down here with the great Ed Lujan. He was episode 1. He's the ATO chairman, and he's the one that actually talked me into being part of this ATO, and I can't thank you enough for doing that. This is one of the best things that I've done in my career.
No, Joe, it's about teamwork. It makes the dream work, and if you don't have the right people in place, people like you and Ken, it's unbelievable. The things that, the message, I get those emails and text messages. If it wasn't for you guys, ATO wouldn't exist. The volunteering, all the sponsorship, just the love from all the community. Thank God we're in Texas. But again, if it wasn't for bridging the divide and letting people know how it really is for first responders, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, you and I were together at Dr. T's 3-day conference whenever, just kind of, and I remember I came up to you on one of the breaks and said, hey, thinking about doing a podcast, and you're like, you're like, yep, go with it. I trust you. Just do it. Just make it happen. You've never really, you've given me some guests. You set up some guests, and you were our first guest, but you have pretty much said, take care of it. I trust you with it. And I can't thank you enough for just you being an ATL chair of an organization to letting me and trusting me with a project like this.
Yeah, and then even beyond that, with Chief Garcia creating the OWL program and this new unit that's helping officers get through whatever they're going through, it's unbelievable. And I'm just so happy that Chief believes in you, Lieutenant Rivera, Sergeant Omar Figueroa, and all your staff. It's just unbelievable because we're here to help officers and all first responders.
We're all in it together. It doesn't matter what color we are. It doesn't matter what association we belong to. It doesn't mean we come out. We have the same goal: is providing service to the citizens, staying alive, and being the best versions of ourselves.
Yeah, and last time I checked, we all bleed red.
Yep, we do.
Well, Ed, I know you like to give credit to the volunteers and everything, but I'll tell you, a lot of people don't volunteer for just anybody. So your leadership has been huge in this venture. I mean, I've told Joe, like, I wouldn't just jump on board if it was just anybody. I think that the stars have to align and everything has to be lined up correctly to make these things successful. So while you like to give credit to everybody else, I think a huge part of that goes to you and just who you are as a human, not just as a president of the ATO, but just as Ed Lujan, and I appreciate you for being Ed.
No, thank you. And like I was just telling Chief Brody, if it wasn't for my board, Joe, you, this couldn't be done. And we all volunteer for this, and it's for a great cause. And again, without the thin blue line, we wouldn't be here.
Ed, I think that's a perfect way to wrap it up.
Perfect.
Being a part of this with you, and I look forward to this. I'm almost 2 years in of being involved with the board of the ATO, and I look forward to the next several years of working alongside you. And Ed, like he just said, when Ed Lujan asked me to be a part of the ATO, I can't say no. Thank you.
You're welcome.